What's up, guys? Gonna give everybody just a couple minutes to join and then we'll get started here. All right, so I figured most people are gonna be busy traveling today. Um, but I will have it recorded, so anybody that wants to check it out later can. So let's go over the markets here. Okay, so first looking at the S&P 500 and just what the overall market is currently doing. Um, Trading sideways. And so typically what we see is if I zoom out here, make sure my recording. Yep. Okay. So what you'll typically see is we see this movement that's pretty much the same every time. So, and if you've been here for a while, you know it's kind of the same movement. Had this move through here, came up, back to the 21 EMA, pushed away, back to the 21, pushed away, back to the 21, pushed away, back to the 21. Once we broke, look what happened. Came back to the 21, pushed away, didn't make it, strong market, coming back to the 9, come up, and then now we're back to the 21. So that's just the every happens on every time frame, the continual movement that you'll see. So this here is this blue line is the weekly time frame, 21 EMA. You can kind of see how we've reacted to that in the past. So we have pullbacks, bounce, pullback, bounce, pullback, bounce, bounce. Once we broke, we saw this big flush. Then we got stopped up here. Once we broke that, now we're above it. Okay. So what we're seeing here is momentum moving to the downside. If we look at ES, getting a little bit of a pop here, up about 0.83%. So as for now, we have to lean bear or bullish on the markets. To make your life a lot simpler on how you're trading, when just focus on the 9 EMA and the 21. If we are above, or if the 9 is above the 21, that's when you want to participate and look to be in long positions. Okay. When the market And then the next piece is the 21 EMA. So when you're trading below that, you kind of got to be cautious. But right now, we're just seeing a bounce at the 21 EMA. We have this, so this is just all normal action, normal trending action. So you can see here, this whole downside leg, we cross, EMA's crossed. Super, super simple concept, but very helpful in keeping you on the right side of the market. And that's what these trend bars are for as well, right? So you can see the trend bars turned red a while back here, indicating that there was bearish strength. And then from here, now we flipped. And you can see we came back to the 21, so on and so forth. But now we've crossed back positive with the 9 back above the 21. So now we're having to lean bullish, okay? And the news came out about Trump pushing back the European Union deal, which was kind of obvious. It's happened pretty much every time, but just pay attention to the technicals because they typically will line up with what price is going to do. So right now, the spot you really want to pay attention to is Friday's low. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have the 21 EMA there as well as the weekly 21. Now, this is different for SPY. So when you're paying attention to this, You can keep an eye on SPY as well, but we've got this big level of support right around here between right around 570-ish. So we've got a window from 574 to 570. So pay attention to that 570 level. That's going to be critical going forward. And as long as we hold that, we need to stay bullish, or we are staying bullish. So one thing that we have to pay attention to is if we flip here to the put call. Remember last week we had talked about how when we get these moves below zero point 0.7, typically that indicates a pretty bearish or a top is starting to take place. So you can see the crosshairs lining up there. So there, and then vice versa when we're up above, when we get above zero point 0.9 as of recently, it's really indicated market bottoms. Um, and so we always want to pay attention to that. What we saw here, though, is we moved below zero point 0.7 and then we kind of came back up on this down leg here, on this small down leg that we had last week. So this gives us more room to continue bullish. You can see here how that kind of happened, right? We had this pullback below, and then when we came back above it, it gave us room to move higher. So I'm expecting we could get a little something like this. Nothing crazy, but I do expect like as long as we hold that key level I'm telling you about on SPY and ES, the 21 EMA and the weekly 21, I expect us to have another leg up and potentially move up past this new high. I'm not totally sure if we're going to make new all-time highs. Does it seem probable from here? Yes. But um, yeah, we're about 6% away from all-time highs. So I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up pushing there, but the picture isn't too clear. I don't have a very clear picture of uh, how strong the movement will be, but I'm telling you, when we had something similar like this, where it kind of went below and then flicked back up. You can see we had another leg up here. Same thing here. So I am kind of looking for, okay, are we going to get this same idea where the put call dropped below zero point 0.7 and we kind of had this upside movement there. And then it coincided with a new high here and a new high here. So I am looking for us to take out this high. I do think we'll go test 600. So make sure to mark that there. And then we'll have to see about all-time highs, but I think based on judging these different periods of time where we have dipped below, we have made a new high. So I think it's kind of probable that we might make a new all-time high. So that's what I'm kind of seeing here. So um, you can take a look at the other indexes here. So that's for the S&P, and that's kind of going to want to drive everything, right? VIX. Reversion to the mean here, not too much to say. TNX, now, if we take a look at this, the 10-year, this is a pretty scary chart in terms of people interest rates, right? So if we go back here and we look at the weekly time frame, you can see the upside move we had in rates 34% and rates on that one there. This one was kind of a dud, but I'll explain why in a second. I mean, it was 11% move, which is pretty solid. And then you can see here what we're setting up here. We're showing some more weekly buy signals. You can see here the last time we had weekly buy signals there, sell signals there. So each time we're getting these signals on the weekly time frame, they've been pretty important moves in the market other than like right here. Okay. But if I zoom out here, you're going to see an even more important signal coming through. Okay. So you can see here we have monthly buy signals showing up. And if this ends up printing, we're probably going to want to buy leaps for probably on TLT or something like that. It seems to be holding 4% here pretty well. But this is bad for like mortgage. If this continues higher, mortgage rates are going to continue higher and things like that. That's going to be a pretty tough thing and tough on the market. So one thing I do want to mark out here, which, and I do want to note that we really have not seen monthly buy signals on this chart ever. So it's a little bit concerning, but I mean, the sell signals here have been very useful. So this downside move from 6.5% to 4, and then here 3 to so that's a 50% decline. Here 2.5 to 1.5. This one here didn't end up working out, but you can see the trend bars were yellow. Now, this is kind of a key chart and a very important swing that we could pay attention to. And actually, there's a lot of things lining up here. You got this psych level of 5. Okay. You've got, so this is going to close this week. So we can revisit this idea coming into next week, on Sunday of next week. This is probably, then we're going to probably want to take a position as soon as this candle closes. So you can see we're holding the 236. You can see the respect to these levels have been pretty spot on, but we've got 5 just above, and then from there, 6, and then, so let's take a look here. Look at the retracements from there, change the color. Yeah, so we're looking at 5.5. I think an easy target is 5, and then we continue from there. The 2.5 ATR price target right there lines up with the 1272, which is going to be about 5.4. So we want to pay attention to that. So definitely keep an eye on this chart. I think this is going to be pretty critical going forward, and we could see a huge breakout, especially you can see the 786 level. Rejected here, rejected here. And so this could be a pretty big, the next bigger swing trade. Okay. And then from there, make sure we covered all of our bases. Um, in terms of longs, focus on the Qs, focus on SPY. These two are the ones you're going to want to pay attention to in terms of being long. IWM, you don't want to focus on this one. This one has the worst score. And then same DIA does not look good either unless it can reclaim its weekly or its weekly 21 EMA. Okay, so now we want to look at some charts here uh, on the watch list. Okay, so here Palantir. So this one here, I think this is eventually going to head to 140. I tried to get into a trade on this one and decide to close it out because it just wasn't getting there how I wanted it to. But I do think that we are going to head up into 140 here pretty soon. And I think this daily squeeze might be what gets us there. So keep an eye on this one. I think it's a really, this is one of the market leaders. So I do want to pay attention to this one. This is definitely one of the top watches here. You can see we had a weekly squeeze fire off. Or 1, 2, 3 dots in. So in theory, we should have about 3 to 7 more dots of continued momentum to the upside. So 3 to 7 more weeks of continued momentum. And this is one of the market leaders. It's one of the ones that's trading that has made a new all-time high before a lot of other things. Actually, I think before any of the Mag 7. So yeah, so Microsoft was the closest one. It still has not made all-time highs. Palantir is one of the first ones to make new all-time highs. So, oh, well, Netflix. Netflix made new all-time highs. So other than Netflix, this one is one of the leaders you want to pay attention to. And I think that this one, daily squeeze setting up. I think you can see the last time we had a buy signal here was a really nice move. So I'm going to be paying attention to this one. We also have a 4-hour squeeze setting up as well. So keep an eye on that one. And then also I want to point a few out that have a 4-hour squeeze and we can run through them real quick. Apple, not going to touch it. Nvidia, not yet. It's got earnings this week, so pay attention to that. Okay, Microsoft, 4-hour squeeze. Very interesting because this is the one that's the closest to all-time highs other than Netflix, like we just discussed. Okay, Amazon, Google, not too much to say. Tesla, really, really great looking chart. I think we're probably going to head back up to 400. Just depends on the market, but I do think that this 350 and the 50% retracement are a huge level here. So we break 350, expect a really explosive move to the upside. And you can see the last 4-hour squeeze we had here showed up and ended up being a really nice move to the upside. Now we've got this 4-hour one showing up. I think this could give us a really, really nice trade to the upside. Great looking bull flag holding the 21 or the 9 EMA. Okay. ABGO, similar story. This one looks great, holding the 786. So uh, we've got earnings. That's kind of going to mess with that. So we might just avoid that one. Same thing here. Meta, I think this one actually looks really good. Keep an eye on this one. Usually the 4 hour signals work out pretty well on this one. You can see the last time we had 4 hour signals resulted in this run. So I am keeping an eye on this one. It's got similar pattern to Tesla, but it's above its 50% retracement, above its weekly 21, all that good stuff. Netflix, this one probably needs a breather. It doesn't really have a higher time frame setup. Uh, MSTR, this one's kind of falling off. And then Palantir, we just talked about that one. So that's all the ones I want to cover here. So for our Bitcoin position, we got in off this weekly signal right here. So we've been in about since about 93,000, and we just took off half of our position, a little more than that, at all-time highs. And we also bought calls here on Bitcoin for the move into all-time highs. So nice trade there. So for this one, I'm just continuing to trail with the 9 EMA. When we get a close below that, I'm probably going to close another quarter of my position. And then when we get, or if we get a move to uh, well, the weekly squeeze is now trying to fire. So if we get a move, momentum fails on this and kind of starts to roll over, like here, I'll end up taking profit. So that's that. We did get in gold last week, so it's having a little bit of a pullback today. I think that's just in a reaction to uh, the news with Trump. And we also had a really strong day on Friday. So we at the close we were up about 45% on these. We'll have to see what this ends up looking like going into Tuesday, but I am looking for a continuation on this into on so if you look at gold, I'm looking for a move into like the 315-ish area. So I am looking for a continuation on this. Still looks good. You don't like to see a pullback, but it's still printing a buy signal. It's still holding up well. Everything looks good. It just needs to get above this retracement level here, and then we should see a nice move to the upside. So I do like that one a lot. NASDAQ continuing to push. So then if we go to um, one thing I do want to see here though. Retracement. Yeah, we're at the 786. Okay, so then a few more here that I'm paying attention to. I think the space stocks, the aerospace and defense stocks, I think those are setting up here. So if we look at Rocket Lab, this printed a weekly buy signal last week. I think this one might be one that we want to trade into, probably in the $30, if not in all-time highs. I think this one has a pretty solid setup here, as well as, where is it? RDW, this is in the same sector. You can see we've got this daily squeeze. We're getting above the weekly 21. Um, I go to the weekly time frame. We're going above the 21 here. We're swinging momentum to the upside. You can see the beat on earnings. And then we had a 4 hour buy signals printing in here. That squeeze is not fired off. So I am looking for, okay, if we can get a dip back to this support right here around 1250, I'd like to pick up some calls for an upside move, potentially up into $15. And so if we break through 15, there's no resistance through here, and we could easily rip to 20 very, very quickly. So um, keep an eye on that one. And then Rocket Lab is in the same boat. So from there, uh, this name here, this had a deal come out with NASA as of recently. This is QUBT. So this one, you look at the 4 hour, you can see we broke through this key resistance at 1250. Do we have a weekly? Yep, we've got a weekly squeeze. Momentum continues to rise after the beat on earnings. And then, so with this one, this is kind of a more of a momentum one. We're above the 1250 price level. We've got this gap to fill. I think it's a pretty easy move into 16-ish. So what I'd look for here is a 30-minute signals and then trade that one to the upside. Uh, Carvana, this is a good looking setup. It might run away from us going into Tuesday because the markets are up. But if you look at this 2 hour, I think we've got this nice flag forming. We're above 300, the key psych level. So I think we could get a move up into the 1272 at around 330 here. So this one looks really good. It's continuing to hold the 9 EMA, pure momentum here. How was the earnings? Yep, nice beat on earnings. And so this one's looking strong as well. So, and then last few here. Spot. This one is trading at all-time highs, so great setup here. Keeping an eye on this one to trade it long. We got a daily buy signal here, so I do like the setup here. We did trade, where did we trade it? We got in this right here, actually. We traded this last daily buy signal and we got in at 600 as it was pulling up. And we had a nice move of about 10% up into the new all-time high. So that was a nice trade. Similar story here. I'm looking for a move. Can we get to 700? We're holding the 21 EMA really nicely over and over again. We got the 1272 and 2.5 ATR right there at 700. So really like that one for the upside move. And then I would say that's all I've got for you guys. Oh, this one we're already in. We're up about 15% or so, so nothing crazy yet, but we got in on this pullback candle here, and we are in June calls, the $50 calls, because I'm expecting if we break this $40 price level, you can see how many times we rejected. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. We got to close above it here, so I'm expecting, can we rip into next week into $50, which these options would explode if we got there. So I am looking for a pretty explosive move in this name. And so you think that might be a crazy move, but if you look at the ADR, it moves 10% per day. And so for a move up into 50, that'd be about 2 days worth of of really nice action. So keep an eye on this one. It is a biotech stock, so be cautious, right? And that's all I've got. So if you guys have stocks you want me to take a look at, things you want me to look over, let me know and I can do that. But that's kind of my watch list going into this week and the things that I'm really liking into this week. So um, just to sum it up, continue play that over under level with the SPY 21 EMA, and then focus on the leaders, the ones making new all-time highs, the good-looking swing setups, and then also keep an eye on these Rocket Labs, these aerospace names. I think they're setting up, and they look pretty good for some upside moves. Like LUNR is another one. This one looks pretty solid here. So this might need a little more time. Doesn't have a 4 hour setup yet, but it is at a lot of support. So um, look for a turn in this one. I think that one looks great. And then, of course, pay attention to the quantum names. They're still setting up like the QUBT, the IONQs, the RGTI, all that good stuff. So keep an eye on those, and we'll continue to trade them as they continue to trade upside. So I hope this helps. Let's see. Oh, you mentioned in TNX breaking out to the upside, you would consider TLT leaps. No, no, no. So TLT, yeah, you're correct. So TNX and TLT are inverse and they're slightly different. So this is the 20-year, but usually and then so TNX is the 10-year. So, but this one moves up, right? So when this moves up, interest rates move up. Um, mortgage rates move up, things like that. But with TLT, it's the opposite. When this moves down, interest rates are moving up. So with this, I'd be looking to play, which you can see here, we already had some weekly sell signals here. And I'd look to place puts in this name and probably looking for can we make it to pretty close to new all-time lows. Um, and then, but another one that I've found as I've been looking through is IEF. So this one, I am looking for, okay, can we trade this one to the upside? Or um, this one seems to be one that we could trade as well, but this is also the similar story of inverse relationship. So, yeah, you kind of just have to pick which one you want to trade. Unfortunately, you can't trade TNX, and there's not too many things that line up that are the exact same. So, we just have to pick our spot, and TLT is definitely the most liquid. But yeah. All right. Any other questions, or are we good to go? Because that's all I've got. And then last thing that I should note, so like gold here. This is not going to move, or it shouldn't move higher if the S&P is, or in the NASDAQ and stuff are breaking out, because this is a safety. This is safety, and the S&P, NASDAQ is the Bitcoin are more risk on assets. So when people are trading these growth names and things like that, typically gold is not going to perform as well, and then vice versa. Like when the market had a big had a down day on Friday, gold had a really nice day. So they kind of move in opposite of each other, and you just have to know there's not opposite, but when people want to move to safety, they do that through gold. They do it through utilities, consumer staples, uh, telephone companies like AT&T, T-Mobile, things like that. So that's just part of this. So uh, when the SP starts to struggle a little bit or anything like that, then you can look for this to move higher. But it kind of helps you keep a balanced portfolio between like if you have some growth stocks and then gold. Gold might be moving down for the time being, but then uh, your growth stocks might be moving higher. So that's just kind of a tip. When you think the markets aren't going to move higher, but you still want to trade in a bullish fashion, you can move towards trading gold, things like that. But all right, guys, thank you guys for coming. Let me know if you have questions. Message me in the chat. But otherwise, just keep these things on your watch list. Let me know what you think, and we'll see if we can pick some of these up on Monday. But all right, guys, have a good weekend and happy Memorial Day.